Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome one and all to episode number 20 of The Adventure Continues, a Star Trek discussion. A bi-weekly show where we take one specific episode from the original series, the animated series, Star Trek The Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager, and Enterprise, and we watch and discuss it sometimes by ourselves, sometimes with a guest. And tonight I am honored to be joined by a very special guest, good friend of the channel and a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the subject of Star Trek, and that is Anti Derivative Jill. And of course, a few things about this episode is that it ties in a few things from a couple of original series episodes, but I will let our guest talk about that if she would like. And this is a character building episode 2. Of course, it was written by DC Fontana, and it was the second episode of Star Trek the Animated Series. And that series first started airing on September 8th, 1973. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring in tonight's special guest, Anti Derivative Joe. Welcome aboard.
Yes, hello. Thank you for having me on today, Pacific 414. I'm
Oh, not a,
excited to talk about my favorite episode of the animated series.
yes. And let me ask you this: since it is your favorite episode of the animated series, when was the first time you watched it?
The first time I watched it, I didn't watch it in, obviously I wasn't alive in the 70s, but oh no, I'm hearing my own voice, so I need to find where I have this. I need to kill something.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and greet Lady Mist. Lady Mist, good to see you. It's always good to see the Admiral, Lady Mist, here on The Adventure Continues, a Star Trek discussion. But while Jill gets down to engineering to find out what's going on with the subspace communication array, I do want to thank everybody who's been
So
by the
sorry about that. Yes,
oh,
this is great. It is not only is this episode written by DC Fontana, but she is the showrunner for the show with Gene Roddenberry as the executive producer. So this is definitely, I believe, the animated series. It's always a question people ask. Is it canon? I think so.
yeah, I've always felt that
Because especially are you there?
I, I'm still here.
Oh no. Okay. I'm messed up my sound again. I'm so sorry. I really apologize for
It's all right,
this.
but I'll go ahead and answer your question for the audience. But I've always felt that the animated series, the 2 seasons that we were able to get of the animated series back in 1973 and 1974, are essentially season 4 and season 5 of the live action original series. And the reason why I say that is
I'm
because
sorry. I'm gonna step out and I'm gonna come back in. I can't hear.
understood. But the reason I say that is because, as Jill mentioned, you have Gene Roddenberry aboard as the executive producer, executive consultant for the animated series. Plus, you also have DC Fontana, who writes a couple of episodes for the animated series and is the showrunner for the animated series. But even though his character of Pavel Chekhov isn't in the animated series, you also have Walter Koenig contributing to the show by writing the episode The Infinite Vulcan. Of course, Star Trek the Animated Series was produced by a low budget animation studio named Filmation. And for those of you who may not be familiar with Filmation, you may be familiar with a couple of cartoons that they produced. One of them being their Ghostbusters, which was based off their live action series, and also a little series known as He Man and the Masters of the Universe.
I think they also did Spider-Man, didn't they?
I think they might have done one of them.
So, yes, and they also made this, and I think it's great. A lot of people make fun of the animation style here, but I think it's beautiful, especially some of the backdrops, some of the paintings that are done to create the alien worlds.
Yeah, because it's all hand drawn animations. When you still had animation studios here in the states producing their own work before they, the majority of them would sell it overseas and have overseas studios do it. Filmation was one of the last holdouts to have its own animators animate their series.
So, and they
Doing,
do take some shortcuts now and then, but I think it's pretty great.
I mean, you see those shortcuts too in a lot of their series, especially He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Well, they're going to use the same backgrounds over and over again. They're going to use the same animation over and over again because, again, they're a small studio, so they have a limited budget as far as what they can do as far as new animation. So they did have to recycle a lot of what they had already produced.
It works because they use a drawing style to make the original series characters look like themselves just in cartoon form.
Mhm.
And so, and that on top of the great writing, because of course we get real Star Trek writers for this, make it stand out.
Well, that's another thing about this series that you have to give it credit for is the fact that with it being a contribution from Gene Roddenberry and DC Fontana and other Star Trek writers, they don't dumb it down, even though it's a Saturday morning kids show.
That's the thing is that it is aired during the hour where you would say these are children's shows. However, it was a very specific directive from DC Fontana herself that she would never wanted the writers to write it just for kids. She always wanted everybody to remember to write it as if this were a real original series episode and they were going to stage it.
Mhm. Yeah, and this particular episode of the animated series, Yesteryear, is directed by Hal Sutherland, whose son provides the voice of young Spock in this episode.
And what's amazing about the young Spock actor is that they recorded his voice, and his very first take was what they did. It wasn't even a take, it was the audition. And for whatever reason, his stilted way of speaking and his, uncertainty was absolutely perfect for a young Spock character, and he couldn't have done a better job
Yes, and,
accidentally.
we'll definitely get more into it as we watch this episode. But if you're ready to start watching this episode, I'll go ahead and press play and
Oh,
we'll
sure, yeah.
commentate
Let's
as
go
we go.
back. Let's go back to October 20th, 1973.
Here we go.
Oh, and it's important to say this is my favorite because it deals so directly with Spock's childhood and his struggle.
Mhm. Yeah, and what's also impressive about this series is the fact that you do again have the majority of the original actors back. Sans Walter Koenig, even though he did write the Infinite Vulcan.
Yeah, that's true, and it is specifically because of Leonard Nimoy that that happened because they were just gonna hire Shatner and him, and he said, "If nobody else is here, then you don't have me either."
Yeah, standing by their fellow castmates.
Mhm. Yeah, that's his goodness, Nimoy's.
And I want to say hello to Crouching Taylor, Hidden Swift. Welcome to tonight's show. And I also want to say hello to Helion. I hope you're doing
Hello,
well.
and it's not just us who loves this episode, it also won Best Contemporary Science, Fiction Film at the 2nd Annual Science Fiction Fantasy Film Convention, that's a mouthful, in LA. I took some notes, in 1973, so got an award.
I actually didn't know that.
Mhm. And also, the series itself gets an Emmy later too.
Mhm. When Dr. McCoy doesn't recognize Spock, you know there's an issue.
Yeah, and so the thing is the Guardian if you're next to the Guardian, you shouldn't feel the changes in the timeline, but I guess maybe McCoy went up my only answer is that he went up to the ship and then came back down again and missed, being part of the same timeline as Kirk and Spock.
And what some people may not know is that James Doohan provided his voice for several characters in the animated series, as did Majel Barrett.
That's true. Yeah, it's absolutely true. Paradox shenanigans. Yeah, so there's an alternate timeline in which Spock dies because they were researching at the same time in the Guardian?
Two different points, two different realities.
What's really interesting is that this timeline it always required Spock to go back in time to save himself, even in the original timeline. So there was always a loop.
Yeah, because if he didn't go back in time in either timeline, there'd be a paradox.
Mhm.
And again, this is an example of DC Fontana saying that this has to be done as if we're doing it as a live action series by talking about Amanda dying and Spock dying.
Yeah, and the very subtle reaction that Spock has
Mhm.
at, her death was perceptible and perfect. She really knows Vulcans. She helped to create them, so it makes sense.
Yes, the Cosme link is pinned at the top of the chat if you wish to watch with us.
Yeah, at Mike Pacific, it looks like, on Cosme.
That is correct.
Oswan.
But of course, you know, DC Fontana deserves all the credit in the world for being the one who helped nurture and form the Vulcan civilization, especially Spock.
Yes. Yes, and Leonard Nimoy helped too, now and then, whenever whenever he was told to do something violent, he said, "No, Spock would not do this." And that's how we eventually get the Vulcan neck pinch, which is featured in this episode.
It's okay, Helion.
exchange is so beautiful. It is a very Star Trek exchange
Hmm.
of the Andorian understanding the logic of what's happening and appreciating it because it's going to save a family.
And that's something that Star Trek has always been able to do, at least Star Trek from 66 to oh 05.
Yes. Yeah, it's a very adult conversation and an acceptance of reality. I really like that first officer. I
Hmm.
wish we got to meet him, in another at another working for another ship. Like, "Hey, I know you," and he'd be like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah, that would have been, a great little callback to this episode.
Mm. But, oh, yeah, then we got that big question, when Spock tells her, "Vulcan has no moon," and so we've got some kind of satellite there. Maybe it's a sister world that's uninhabitable.
Hmm. Or it could also be they wanted to fill in the background, so they just added it there. And
Yes, well, and then somebody just didn't get the memo, but no, that wouldn't happen with DC Font well, maybe she just wasn't focused on that, or it happens post-production and she had nothing to do with it.
mhm.
Yeah, he's getting heavily teased by these other Vulcan children
Mhm.
for his human background.
And of course, this brings back Mark Leonard as Sarek.
Yes, it's so beautiful and wonderful to hear his voice. Right now, older Spock is saying that his name is Selleck, and just in case we start saying the name Selleck and nobody knows who we're talking about.
I was thinking about creating a funny meme with Spock calling himself Selleck in this episode and giving the animated Spock a mustache, but I couldn't get it to turn out right.
That would have been cute, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that that
I
was
like
that was
Spock
the
with a
whole
beard,
idea of
but I
it.
wouldn't.
I just couldn't get the mustache to look right.
Oh, that's too bad. You just take a mirror, Spock, and take away the beard part?
I should have tried that. 'Cause I was also thinking about putting a Hawaiian shirt on top of him. Just kind of that little funny little nod.
Oh, that would've been good.
Of course, in this case, Amanda's being voiced by Angel Barrett.
Yes. They couldn't get everybody back because they did wanna save some kind of money, and
Mhm.
Nimoy
Again,
couldn't be fighting it all the time.
yeah, again, with Filmation being a small studio, they only had a certain budget they could allot each episode, and to the voice actors too.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, we get like you mentioned, well, I have to help my family just for a minute, but I
Okay,
was gonna mention the Saylat
if you want
from
me to
the,
pause the
Journey
episode,
to
I
Bab
can.
Can you? I
Yes.
didn't know you could do that. Sorry to everybody if you're listening to this on the replay, you have to pause now because it's not gonna match. So we'll let you know when to replay.
Don't worry about it, Jill. But yes, if you are watching at this point in time on the replay near the 22-minute mark, we are pausing it just so Jill can take care of a couple of things and come back and continue to talk about this episode, especially with episodes of the animated series only being 24 minutes compared to the live action episodes of the original series being close to 50 minutes, or Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and so on, being close to 44, 45 minutes. But I do hope everything is going well. And at this time, I do want to bring something up since we do have a break in the action. I'm going to go ahead and share a couple of links to help out a member of our community. Copy this link. All right. So, as some of you already know, and those of you who don't know, a member of our community is in search of her daughter. Her daughter, McKenna, has been missing since Tuesday afternoon. I am posting the link to a video that Royal PETA, also known as Helion, has posted on X. I am also going to show some information here so everybody can try to help Helion out. But let me go ahead and share this for everybody. All right. So, for those of you who are catching this on the replay again, Tuesday afternoon at 1:30, McKenna disappeared, and her name is Annalicia McKenna Duran, 18 years old, height 5'6", weight 110 pounds, brown eyes, and blonde hair with dark roots. Last seen on January 27th, 2026, at the racetrack, and that address was 6635 Pritchard Road, Jacksonville, Florida, zip code 32219, with a trucker under 4 foot tall. If you have any information on the location of this adult, please call Jacksonville Sheriff's Office at area code 904 630 0500, case number 26 53 446. I know I know that you are deeply concerned about the whereabouts of your daughter, Helion, and I will keep saying this because I do hope that she is found and she is brought home safely to you. But if you all could click on the link that I put into YouTube, I'm putting into Rumble right now. But if you could click on that link and reshare it, repost it over on X and any social media that you belong to, I know Helion would greatly appreciate to have her daughter home once again. And good to see Padawannabe over on the Rumble side. Good to see you,
Hello.
brother. Welcome back, Jill.
Thank you.
I was just letting everybody know while you were taking care of what you need to take care of, that a member of our community has been searching for her daughter since Tuesday. She was last seen at 1:30 p.m. Eastern
Oh,
time, and
that's terrible news. I hope she shows up soon.
I do too. I do too. And she was last seen at the racetrack, which is a truck stop there in Jacksonville, Florida. And I have asked Helion to keep me informed of any new and positive notes on possibly finding her daughter McKenna. I hope she's found. I hope she's found safe and sound, and that we can bring her home. So as soon as I know anything, as soon as Helion knows anything, She'll post it in the Discord, and then I will let everybody know what the latest news is. And of course, I know Helion will probably stop by.
Mhm.
So again, folks, if you can help Helion, help her locate her daughter, especially if you live in the Jacksonville, Florida area. We would greatly appreciate it.
That's every parent's worst nightmare. Hope it turns into a dream soon. Gosh.
So let's go ahead and continue on with this episode.
Mm. Yeah, he's expecting Spock to decide whether or not he wants to take the Vulcan path or the human path, and
Hmm.
Spock is still unsure if he's even able to be Vulcan, but he is, but there's this problem where he's got these emotions that he gets from his mother's side and everything. He has just
Hmm.
this is a great display of what is going on with him.
Especially at that age.
Mhm. I love this idea that Vulcans do keep with old traditions because it keeps them strong
Hmm.
physically, because you see exactly what happens whenever they decide to like the Chalosians from the cage, they went to a purely intellectual course of action and they lost the ability to use their bodies.
And absolutely. So the Vulcans still practicing. You know their ancient book practices and beliefs. Hold
I'm getting some major echo, is that me?
I'm hearing it in my headphones. No, Spock's not going to harm himself.
I do realize there's something weird about this Selleck.
Yeah.
Although you do have an echo, and oh, I love this though. This is one of the best parts.
Hmm.
Ichaya defeats the Lamacha, and then, of course, he's not able to fully defeat him, and, of course, Spock comes along to do the Vulcan next pinch and knocking it out. It's just one of the best trivia about this actually is that the Lamacha uses the voice of Godzilla.
Yeah, that's one thing I was hoping one of us would point out. And it's not the first time Filmation would actually use the voice of Godzilla in their animated series.
Hmm, nice. I also love when young Spock thanks older Spock saying, "Mother says you should always say thank you." And that explains Spock's graciousness throughout the original series because he does express gratitude.
Hmm.
a lot.
which is important. It shows that Amanda still had influence on him as his mother, of course, but he didn't completely ignore his human side.
True. Yeah, and it takes all the way until the motion picture for him to fully embrace his human side. Not that he's gonna be human, he's still Vulcan, but now he's decided not to shut it out.
Hmm.
Y Yeah, and they explained it here perfectly. It's the best explanation. Vulcans do not lack emotion, it is only that ours is controlled. Logic offers a serenity humans seldom experience in full. We
Hmm.
have emotions, but we deal with them. Yeah. But, of course, this is the heartbreaking aspect of the story.
It
Everybody
is
most people many people have gone through this.
losing a pet. It's always hard
Yes, and this is
because
also another test of young Spock's courage. Apparently, the other time that Spock saved himself, Aichaya was not poisoned.
yeah, that's what we learn.
And so, in this reality, he really does a practice run of the Cos One well before his actual ritual, which is pretty neat. He has to deal with the
It,
purple snakes. I don't know what
mhm.
those are.
Purple vines, purple snakes, but it's no different than any rite of ascension. The Klingons have it, the Vulcans have it.
Mhm. And apparently Hal Sutherland was, colorblind, so that's why we get a lot of cool pink stuff.
I didn't know about that about him.
Yep.
I know he was a partner of Lou Scheimer for the longest time, and
But I don't mind it. It makes things more bright. I'm cool with it in an animated series.
yeah, because you want things to be bright and colorful in an animated series, so it catches the viewer's eye, especially young kids. Granted, like it was mentioned before, this series was written for kids and adults,
Mhm.
as it wasn't dumbed down.
Yeah, definitely not dumbed down. DC Fontana's understanding of her creation, or the Vulcans, is unparalleled, and so that's why this episode is so amazing. And young Spock is beginning to feel the loss of his pet, and Spock explains how Vulcans face death by
Mhm.
understanding every life comes to an end when time demands it. Loss of life is to be mourned, but only if the life was wasted. Aichaya's was not. I don't know if, this, all this echoing is being picked up on your stream on your
It
side.
is being picked up, and it's happened a few times with StreamYard lately.
Okay, let me see if I
I'm just also changing some settings on my end.
okay.
I hope that fixed it.
I hope so too. You definitely sound better, much better from before.
No, I'm still
No,
hearing it.
I love that. That's unintentionally funny. I think I shall not. You're welcome to come back. No, I don't think so.
It's the Vulcan way of saying thank you. No, thank you.
I like how we're just waiting for our echo now, but I do not like hearing my voice.
No, I don't like hearing it either. And like I said, it's happened last few times with StreamYards. And I want to clarify, I don't like hearing my own voice.
Was it just me, or does everybody tear up for this episode every time young Spock makes the right decision to let HIA go?
Hey, hang tight, Jill. I'm going to take myself out and come back in.
Okay. Okay, so Pacific 414 has stepped out so that he could try to fix his technical issues. We had a few technical issues at the beginning. Those technical issues were my fault, but in this case, they are StreamYard's fault apparently. This is the issue that I've not encountered, but hopefully stepping out and coming back in will fix the issue.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah. In just a couple seconds. Padawannabe says, "If I watched this as a child, I would have cried for sure." The dog died. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know if there is a oh, there's the echo.
It's still there. Yeah, there's something going on with StreamYard.
Ooh.
But yeah, I understand that, Padawannabe. If you watched it as a child, you would have cried for sure. And it wasn't a dog; it was a teddy bear.
That's right. It's a Saylat,
Okay,
but it
okay.
is a
I think I know what it is.
oh, yes.
It's coming from the Cosme side. I can
Oh,
hear
you have m
somebody's mic.
oh, I turned that off.
Yeah,
I turned
I
off
have it
the
turned
mic
off too, but
over there.
I'm still hearing it from somebody. So
Interesting. Hmm. But I don't have microphone set up over there, so I've got mine disabled, so I know it's not me.
yeah, I have mine disabled too.
Weird.
That is
Well,
weird.
since we're no longer broadcasting from Cosme, we can
Yeah.
leave that tab, and now we won't have an echo anymore. The Padawannabe, that's okay. The Padawannabe, obviously, it looked like it must have been a mistake. I just realized my mic was on, says the Padawannabe. I think it was me. My phones were right next to each other, and, he apologizes. He says sorry, and,
Oh, Pada,
thank you to Padawannabe for letting us know what was happening.
I'm gonna have to send you to Ruapente.
Oh, can't he just go to the brig rather, for 5 minutes. I don't
Actually,
wanna
I'll just
I
go
don't
find
know.
him the quarters.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay, the
It's all
Padawan.
right. It's all right, Pada.
Those I'm just relieved to not have my voice echo again. So now I'm happy.
I'm just relieved to know it wasn't a technical issue on our end. Otherwise, bridge to engineering. We've got an echo. We need it solved.
Hmm. But this is a wonderful Spock episode. Anything that happens from here on out is very heavily influenced by this. I think it's important to
Yeah,
understand Spock's relationship with his mom and his dad.
I think it's also important for someone who's never seen the animated series to give it a watch. It's definitely worth it.
Mhm. Yes.
Eh, And this is definitely one of the top episodes of the 22 episodes we received from the animated series. It's too bad there aren't any more episodes.
That's true. We only got 22, and that's unfortunate. I love The Eye of the Beholder is my second favorite. The one with the
That's a
big
very good episode. Yeah,
yeah, the big pink aliens. Once again, the pink, but it's wonderful. Thank you to the people who created this.
thank you
Wonderful
to
Star Trek creators.
the wonderful Star Trek creators who joined the animated series from the live action series, and of course, getting voice contributions from the majority of the cast. That really does help instead of having somebody, a voice actor come in and try to sound like William Shatner or Spock, and maybe not getting it as close as you would hope.
That would have been unfortunate. Yes, this is canon because you've got the original writers and the original actors.
Yeah, and I think, although I can't name the specific episode where they mentioned, but I think couple of things from the animated series actually made it into the live action series just by a line of dialogue. When it comes to Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, I think it was a Deep Space Nine episode.
Well, I'm gonna need more information, but I do know that, of course, the holodeck is a thing immediately once we get to the next generation, which is in a animated series episode where we get uh, a type of proto holodeck where they get trapped in it, and of course it starts off that way. The holodeck starts off causing trouble right from the get go.
And it continues to cause trouble
The
as Next
Practical
Generation
Joker.
goes on.
Yeah, it's in a terrible TAS episode actually called The Practical Joker, but it's a great idea. And of Gene Roddenberry's, he wanted to implement it for the original series, but couldn't do it at that time.
And I'm actually gonna look it up and try to find out which series actually made reference to things that were mentioned in the animated series or shown
I'm not sure I understand
as.
your question. Could you repeat it?
Basically, what I'm saying, Jill, is that there are certain things that we see in the animated series, and with Gene Roddenberry being the way he was about the animated series, flopping back and forth, it was canon, then it wasn't canon. Anything from the animated series that was mentioned in a live action series to make it canon.
So I did understand you pretty well since I mentioned the holodeck. So yeah, that would be interesting to know.
So just give me a second.
Mhm. See what's happening here.
And of course, it mentions the verse holodeck.
Yep,
Let's
yep.
see, what else? Okay, so it mentions that, let's see, Spock's childhood. Let's see.
Yes. Yes, it fleshes out the childhood in such a
Mhm.
beautiful way.
Uh,
And
Well,
I
one of the
wish
major things, and they confirm it in the Undiscovered Country, is Captain Kirk's middle name, Tiberius,
that's
first
true. The
mentioned in the
animated
animated
series
series.
that's true. And the episode that you're referring to is called Bem, yet another not so good episode that reveals some very important Star Trek history.
Hmm.
And his I think his middle initial, we learn about the middle initial in the original series, but we don't get the full name until the animated.
So, really, according to the information I'm able to pull up, there are about four things that they're highlighting here that were first mentioned in the animated series that were then brought to the live action series. Of course, that being the first holodeck, aspects of Spock's childhood, the return to Kazint, I always screw that name up, and then, of course, Kirk's middle name being Tiberius, which
Yes.
was then later
True.
officially confirmed in The Undiscovered Country when Kirk and Bones are on trial.
Yes. Yes, and the first time we get the that we know it's a T, but we don't know the name yet, is in the original
Mhm.
series episode, The Conscience of the King.
Yes. And of course, where no man has gone before, in that episode, there's a tombstone that says James R. Kirk, but
Yes.
yeah, well, we just ignore that.
Yeah, Gary Mitchell just kind of forgot.
Yeah.
He forgot his middle name.
But
He was too busy being a god.
what are the highlights of the animated series for you when you've watched it?
Well,
Not
this
not
episode
just
number 1,
yeah.
this is the best episode, but everything about it is pretty fantastic. I'd have to think of a specific episode to know it, but just like I said earlier, this was not made, even though it was in the block of children's shows, it was not made as a children's show. It kept the theme up and exactly the way it was for the original series. The only difference is they get to do more things because the animation affords you the ability to do things that a budget for a live action series would not allow.
Mhm.
Like the aliens in my second favorite episode, The Eye of the Beholder, those snuffleupagus pink aliens. They're so funny and I like them very much.
Well, also,
And they bring a baby, one of them, onto the Enterprise. Such a good
mhm.
episode.
Well, also, mentioning aliens, you have alien crew members on the Enterprise bridge. When Uhura's not there, you have the cat crew member. You also have that one alien in
Occasion.
Chekhov's position. Yeah.
Yeah, that right. The alien who is in Chekhov's position is Eric, and he has 3 arms and 3 legs, and he's a funny character. He's a Dosian, and they don't show him walking a whole lot, if you notice, because the walk cycle, they don't wanna worry about that too much.
And again, that goes back to Filmation being a small animation studio that would cost money for them to animate him walking. And like, okay, so one way we're going to cut back on having to animate this whole sequence is just having him sit at his station.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, and if anybody wants to know about the animated series, there's a great book about it that I have around here somewhere called The Official Guide to the Animated Series written by Aaron Harvey and Rich Sheepy. I can never pronounce his last name, but it's just a good, resource for knowing more about this.
And I'll go ahead and find an Amazon link to see if they actually have it.
Mm, I'm sure they do.
Not knowing if it's still in print or if it's out of print.
Oh, it's probably still in print. It's actually a rather new book, surprisingly enough. And so it does have a little bit of the filth in it. I think it does make reference to 2009, but it doesn't have a whole lot, so it wasn't written too soon. And oh yeah, David Gerald was a part of creating the series too. He was around,
Mhm. And he was also the writer for More Tribbles, More Troubles.
of course. I think he wrote something else too. He wrote another episode. I forget which one. But yeah, this is real Star Trek. And if in case anybody doesn't know, if you haven't seen the animated series, it's definitely worth your time.
Definitely worth a watch. And here is
the book on Amazon. There's the cover, and it's a hardcover book, and they want $34.99 for the hardcover book. But let's, from script to screen, gives you all the information on the animation models and the pre-production, post-production.
Yeah, it's everything you wanna know. Everything
Mhm.
they've got. Oh, yeah, there's, like, a lot of funny bloopers, like, there's one episode where you have a picture of McCoy standing in front of a building, and there was a practical joke that was done by the animators because they are in-house, like you said, and one of them actually had a reel of him peeing, but I could never find it
Hmm.
because he has his back to the camera, so it's just a stream coming out, but
Kirk is
oh,
a jerk.
can't find it. Yeah, Kirk is a jerk.
Yeah.
That's a Practical Joker episode, so bad,
Mm.
but there's still some good things about it. Even with, when it's real Star Trek, even the bad episodes have something fun to talk about.
Even the bad episodes of the live action series still have something fun to talk about. Okay, maybe except for Move Along Home or Code of
Yeah.
Honor.
Yeah, those episodes are bad, but even they have something good. Like Code of Honor's terrible, but I love the scene. They have a scene with Data and Geordi and Geordi's shaving and everything. And it's a nice little character building moment in a terrible episode.
Mm-hmm. But there is a look at the inside of the book, and if you're
Yeah,
interested in it, I will link in there. If anyone
definitely.
wants to buy it,
And one another thing the animated series does is it keeps up with the science fiction and science fantasy aspects of the original series really well. You can find yourself dealing with those kind of things, the very same things you get from the show.
yeah, you can find yourself entertained by it. That's
Mhm.
the big selling point of it for me is you're still entertained. It may be in animated form, but you're still getting the same value that you would get from the live action series.
Even better, I celebrated Nichelle Nichols yesterday, and so another one of my favorite episodes is the Lorelei Signal, in which she finally takes control of the bridge as acting captain to save
Mhm.
the men who have been taken in by some sirens. Some alien sirens.
And aren't those the same alien sirens who depend on taking the life force of men so that they can live forever, essentially?
Yes, exactly, and it's actually a product of being on the planet itself. It's a function of the planet, and so that's why that needs to be repaired before the Enterprise can leave, and it is.
So, that was one of the things that Nichelle Nichols wished happened on the live action series was that she was able to be in the command chair as Uhura.
And that was a thing that was a long time coming because in the writer's guide, she is 4th in command above Sulu, although Sulu gets acting captain instead during the original series. So that was something that was missing for whatever reason, and it was restored thanks to the animated series, so it did a lot of wonderful things.
Mm. But Jill, it's been wonderful going through this episode with you, and
Mm,
I hope you had a nice time. I'm sorry about the
definitely.
echo and technical issues, but next time that will be fixed.
Okay, sounds good. Well, and I started off with technical issues, so it goes all around. It's something we all have to deal with on YouTube is the
Yeah.
production of our shows, but I still love talking about Star Trek. Anime series has so many things to talk about and enjoy.
It does. And even though this was the first animated series episode we've done here on The Adventure Continues, there will be more. There's still
Yeah, and it is
21 episodes left.
true, and it is unfortunate that we don't have Chekhov, but he does get to at least write an episode called The Infinite Vulcan, which I
But
kinda
Jill,
like. Some people make fun of it. I think
no,
Giant Spock rocks.
That was the first episode of the animated series I saw when it was on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Right on. That's awesome.
But Jill, at this time, if there's anything that you'd like to promote for yourself, please go ahead.
Sure. Yes, I have a channel. Tonight I'm going to be playing tonight at 11 a.m. PM Central Time. I'm going to be playing Fallout 2. I've been wanting to get to Fallout 2 a lot recently. I've caught up with the TV show, but it isn't just the TV show. Always been wanting to play the different Fallouts. I finally played Fallout 1 and I did win. Maybe not in the way I wanted, but I did get through the game. So we'll see what happens with Fallout 2, which was apparently more difficult. So I'll be playing
And
that tonight and have a little fun there. And then on Tuesdays, I review the Twilight Zone until March when For All Mankind comes out. I'm gonna pause my Twilight Zone streams for All Mankind for the season. And on Fridays, I also stream at 11 a.m. Central, but it's more varied about what we're gonna do. We might do Stargate this Friday.
awesome. Stargate's a good series to go over.
Thank you. It should be fun. I'm trying to get Scotty into it because he was always upset with Stargate the movie because it stole, as to his opinion, that it stole the destruction of Praxis, and it did reuse that effect. And he's not wrong. It's not just an opinion; it's truth. But once I got him to get over that, he said the movie was okay. But we're
Yeah.
going to see what he thinks about the TV show. Anyway,
Uh,
thank you so much for having me on here.
Anytime. And, when it comes to Stargate, the movie versus the TV show, I'll be honest, I think the TV show is a lot better than the movie. Even though the movie does have Kurt Russell, and I like Kurt Russell as an actor, I look at Stargate at the movie, and even Kurt Russell can't save it.
Well, I think it's a good movie, but the TV show is definitely far superior, and you do get a couple of actors from the movie to show up in the TV show. So that's
Mhm.
fun too,
Yes.
to carry on that continuity.
Yes. But before we get
Yeah.
out of here, I do want to thank Padawannabe for joining us tonight. And don't worry, Padawannabe, I'm not mad at you. And also,
Yeah.
Helion, thank you for coming by tonight. And again, I do hope that we're able to find your daughter.
Mhm.
Also, I want to thank Crouching Taylor, Hidden Swift for stopping by.
Oh,
And
Midge, he was here.
I also want to thank Lady Mist, also known as the Admiral here on The Adventure Continues. So thank you all, and for anybody who catches this on the replay, really appreciate you stopping by. The next episode that we'll be talking about on The Adventure Continues for episode 21 of The Adventure Continues, a Star Trek discussion, we will be talking about the House of Quark from season 3 of Deep Space Nine. And the reason
I
I
love
chose
story.
that, yes, well, the reason I chose that is because the next episode of The Adventure Continues is on Valentine's Day. So I thought, why don't we go with a fun Valentine's Day episode?
So that is quite fun. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. So that's what's coming up for The Adventure Continues 2 weeks from now. And also, real quick, before I let you all know what else is coming up, I do want to say hello to Pops, who says, I enjoy Stargate the movie. I haven't watched enough of the TV shows, to be fair.
It's
Good
definitely
show.
worth your time, I can tell you that much.
Mhm. Yeah.
Richard Dean Anderson really, really makes a difference with his humor, and his acting is impeccable in it, and
Mhm.
you can't help but love it. He's a big part.
Yes. And also, speaking of Pops and I will be doing something here shortly. And I'm looking forward to sitting with him, talking with him about the movie that we're going to be talking about. And of course, as soon as it's available for everybody to watch, we'll let everybody know. But as far as what's coming up on the rest of the YouTube channel, the rest of the Rumble channel for this week, tomorrow, Baron, Cash, and I will be here live at 6 p.m. Eastern with Pop Talk. talking about mostly gaming news that's been going out this week, whether it be High Guard, whether it be Nintendo's new CEO, some lawsuits, and some layoffs. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern, and Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, I'll be playing more of Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Then we'll also have the Wednesday edition of Pop Talk at 6 p.m. Eastern. And on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, I will be playing Arc Raiders. But I do want to say to everybody, thank you again for tuning in. And again, if you're catching this on the replay, thank you very much. Without anybody here, this channel doesn't go anywhere. So your support of the channel is greatly appreciated. And until next time, everybody, live long and prosper.
Peace and long life.